Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As above, so below. We're talking about lunar energy. I want to say salutations to my Madrina, to my Padrino, and to my Oba, and to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Paulo, Christian, and Kimbanda. I want to say to each and every one of you guys, this particular live is always geared to melanated people, of course. To each and every one of you guys that have been following me, what I do, my name is Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I'm the apostle and pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated. And my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs. Those are the African traditional religions which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. What's up, Stormy? My Sagittarius from Detroit. To each and every one of you guys that thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Still, even though I've been on TikTok a minute, I'm still learning because I can't say I don't understand technology. Sometimes I get frustrated because I'm a fire sign, and a lot of time I be in a rush. So I want you guys, but I want to come on here today because I share my videos on my platform on YouTube. I want to say this to anybody that wants to learn magic, understand magic. Thank you so much for the heart. I've been doing magic since I was 3 to 4 years old, based off my mom's testimony to my son. I'm 52 years old. I'm initiated in quite a few ATRs. My first love is Haitian Voodoo. Now, I know it is not popular to study your energy, frequency, and vibration. I know that a lot of people will lead you to believe that you're going to have this magic amulet, there's going to be a portal, there's going to be a door, or some type of spiritual awakening. I myself take Harataki with knowledge, with understanding that my gifts, my spirituality was all already activated. I'm saying all this because it doesn't matter if you're in Christianity, it doesn't matter if you are in the ATRs. When I say common sense to magic, one of the things that people, especially melanated people, they're so into spells, prayers, rituals, and conjure that they keep forgetting the main ingredient in all magic and manifestation. And when I say magic, I'm saying energy, frequency, and vibration. The key ingredient is self. The more you have developed self, the more you're going to be able to manifest, direct, or magnetically attract what you're looking for. Everybody's principles, everybody's recipe for prosperity does not fit everybody's energy or their frequency. And you have to understand, the reason why the main ingredient is self is that's why we always, any real spiritualist is always going to teach and share to you the importance of your ancestors. Understanding your bloodline. Thank you so much, inspiration. Understanding your bloodline will give you a lot of indications of the type of energy you're going to be able to work in. Also, the tradition that you are able to work in. Come on, became a number 6 fan in the fan club. All right, much love to you. Now, like I said, I'm a Sagittarius, Moon, Aries, Rise sign, Pisces. I don't teach, preach anything to be popular because One thing I've learned, the truth is not popular. It's necessary, but it's not popular. And people choose to work with that energy or not. What I am saying, that when you want to manifest, when you want to understand your journey, the common sense to your energy is to understand why you are a Gemini, why you are a Capricorn, why you are a Leo, why you are Virgo, because that is going to be always the anchor by which you operate energetically and understanding your measure. This is where a lot of melanated people get messed up. Anybody can do magic, or anybody can do energy work. We all do energy work by the decisions that we make. This is the thing when you get into ritualistic magic. In other words, you conjuring, you are doing certain types of formulas to build energy. This is what you have to understand. Anytime you do a ritual, not only you're tying your energy to that ritual, but say for instance you're utilizing the pentagram. And so how many ancestors gave energy to that pentagram? You're tapping into that energy also. Thank you and good morning. This is why I teach universal laws, because universal laws find you wherever you are. Whether you're in the valley low, whether you're in the mountaintop, whether you're in a cave, or whether you are roaming the range in life. Whether you got a business, or whether you got a job, or whether you freeloading off people, places, and things. Energy follows you wherever you are. We are human with a flesh. Inspiration is the highest law. The reason why this is, we hear the term, especially in our culture, common sense ain't common. I say that also when it comes to spirituality, energy, because common sense would tell a earth sign how to utilize their energy. Common sense means innate intuition. A common sense should tell a fire sign how to use their energy. Common sense should tell an air sign how to use their energy. Common sense will tell a water sign how to use their energy. Why did I say it like that? Because most of our culture is monkey see, monkey do. Like I said, what I'm saying is the truth. It may not be popular. It may not be something that itches your ear. But when you're trying to do real magic and real spirituality, you need somebody that really understands energy and knows how it works. Okay? One of the things, I think I'm picking what you put down. Thank you so much. My success has always been because I knew who I was. I didn't let my traditions or initiations change the energy that I excel in. The reason why I'm saying this, because you can do the same money spell that I'm doing as a fire sign, but you have to utilize it differently because you are air sign, or earth sign, or water sign. A template is something that is created for a generic purpose, a general purpose. When you get into, say for instance, a career in cosmetology, you as a air sign, you're going to bring ideas, you're going to bring ingenuity, you're going to bring the ability to be sociable to cosmetology. If you are earth sign, you're going to plan out and you're going to structure and you're going to build. Everybody gets to the destination, but they have to get to the destination with their element. And when you're monkey see, monkey do, or you're trying to do what other people do, what may come natural to them, then you're trying to copy something that is not natural to you. Magic is natural. I'm going to say that again. Magic is natural. Magic is nature. You should have energy follows path of least resistance. Universal laws allow you to maneuver your energy, whether it is hoodoo, whether it is affirmations, whether it is conjure, whether it is dealing with the ancestor, necromancy. It really doesn't matter. What matters if you understand your energy and you are sober-minded. You're not expecting to be able to operate in the same element as your fellow Sagittarians because you're a Sagittarian, because you know you have not been developed. There's a lot of people that give spirituality a bad name out of ignorance, some of it, and some of it is blatantly disrespect of universal laws. And those same people will disrespect tradition. Oh, ego. When you have common sense about your spirituality, you operate more so in your higher self. The reason I'm not, most Christian and Christian doctrine tell somebody what's wrong with them. I tell people why they have the energy they have so they can maneuver in this life and stop taking certain things personal. You will never hear salt arguing about it's salty. You will never hear sugar arguing about it's sweet. Only human beings, especially melanated, you will never hear sugar arguing about it's sweet. Only human beings, especially melanated people, have a displeasure for what God has given them, for what the ancestors have given them, what the divine has given them. And this is where you will hear on my platform wisdom. Because when I do a spell, that's why it lasts. Because I have the understanding. I have the understanding of my energy. I have the understanding of how to actually direct that energy. And I don't make it about the divine. I make it about my responsibility to do my part. And then the spirits behind the scenes, they manifest what I desire or what I have spoken or what I prayed for or decreed. Any of these measures that we utilize to release energy. Okay? So, common sense to magic has a lot to do with understanding that I can't make a decision. Let me tell you that. You can make it a decision, but because you didn't count up the cost and you didn't have a plan or backup plan, a lot of times when you ask for something, you don't always know how long it's going to take. Because you in a rush. Anybody with common sense, I'm styling this like a meal. If you're going to prepare something from scratch and you want it done at a certain time, the average person gets up considerably early in the morning to prepare their meals so they are ready for dinner time at a certain point. The same thing with energy. Depending on the manifestation, if you are wanting something quick, it's fire element. If you want something moderately, not super fast, but in a timely manner, then you're going to deal with water or air. But if you want something to take its time and have stability to it, and to build over time and to be able to save, then you deal with earth element. This is what I mean by before you get involved in a tradition, you need to have your basics when it comes to spirituality, who you are, not being identified because of your government name, but being identified because of your energy. This is why every story in the Bible, when the man of God or one of these elders or priests came to people, it's like with the story about Gideon. Gideon was a baker, but God had a warrior on his inside of him. God, divine mother, father, don't care what you become when you get here on the earth plane. That energy is still in you. You can be a truck driver, you can be a cosmetologist, you can be an accountant, you can be a lawyer, hell, you can be a thug, you can be somebody in prison. When that awakening takes place, they're going by the energy. They're going by the frequency and the vibration. This is what I mean by common sense, because energy don't lie. And therefore, when you get readings or you're looking for somebody to give you a reading, this is why you shouldn't never be deceived, because you should know your energy. You should know what's going on in your life. You should know why this is happening, that is happening. You should also know, based off your energy and what kind of energy you put into your prayer or whatever. They got a saying in the church world, they say much prayer, much power. Little prayer, little power. When you got common sense, thank you so much for the likes. When you got common sense, you can hear wisdom. When you're irrational, male or female, when you're flighty and irrational, common sense sounds foolish. I'm going to say that again. I have won many battles. I have defeated enemies, and people have set themselves as enemies, because even though I defeated them, I still didn't consider them an enemy. They were trying to score points, and you run up against people protection. That's what it is. But let me say this. I have the things that I share to melanated people. These are weaknesses that you do not realize are weaknesses. The fact that you don't know your higher mind from your lower mind, anybody that understands universal laws, and they can capitalize on your not covering or protecting the energy of your higher mind. There are ceremonies that people can disconnect or separate you from your ancestors if you don't understand how to tap into your ancestor energy. Your personal issue with the African ATRs, when you're not rooted and grounded in your belief and the spirits that you are utilizing, you make yourself vulnerable out in this world. We call them spiritual streets. You make yourself vulnerable because you can never be 100. I'm going to say that again. If you got discrepancies or issues with certain things about the ATRs, how can you fully benefit from that spiritual system when you yourself got issues? Whether it is thinking it's demonic, whether you come from a Christian perspective, not because people teach it correctly, because Christianity is really out of Kemet and Egyptology. What I'm trying to explain to you, mentally, it's no different than a relationship. If you're not fully engaged in a relationship, that relationship has a stronger chance to be broken. I'm going to say it again. Your lack of conviction of what you're doing and the practice that you're doing it in will make you vulnerable to spiritual attacks, where people can interfere in certain visions or dreams or goals coming to pass. And that's what I mean by common sense. You're so busy trying to be a great wonder in the ATRs, but you have not caused your own energy to be great in yourself. And that people like me are going to look for those loopholes. People like me will have the advantage because you're already operating at a disadvantage. The mere fact that you believe that you don't have to pay your way puts you at a deficit. Not only for your own financial and economic prosperity, but for how you use currency out here in the world. How you use currency when it comes to your prayer life. When you understand that the ocean is a representation of abundance, and no matter how many fish you catch, there's still fish in the sea. And I said this last time. When it comes to the ocean, it's a symbol of life. There's things in life or in the ocean that you can eat and consume. And there's also in that same ocean, also in life, that there are things in that ocean can eat you. It's called reciprocity. It's called what goes around, what comes around. And when you don't have that common sense nature, you'll go out into this thing called spirituality and magic and energy, and you'll think that you can do things. You can do things to people, places, and things. When you pray a prayer, I'm gonna give you an example. Thank you so much, Stormy. When you pray a prayer, say for instance you want a position on the job, energetically, you get it. That means energetically somebody didn't get it. You alter a reality of yourself that was beneficial, but you also altered a reality of somebody else, whoever was aspiring for that same position. The reason most melanated people don't understand reciprocity is because as long as they're getting what they want from their energy or the energy of people working for them, then they call it a blessing. They call it victory. When you adjust other people's reality to get what you want, there's consequences to that. Sober-minded common sense is understanding the responsibility that I have for my energy, and I don't just go out here randomly affecting people's life because I want something. The reason why I expect a paycheck is because I worked. That's common sense. The reason why I'm looking for a pension check from UPS is because I got vested and I got 30 years. That to me is energetically common sense. To expect the universe to give you something that you're not going to exchange anything for, not realizing you're going to be in a deficit. So that's like the difference between somebody having the money in their account to pay off their car versus you getting a loan to get a car. You both have cars, but one has debt and one is their car is paid off. There are people that are smart enough in spiritual practices to make sure they're giving an equal energy exchange for the things they're asking for, so they don't have to pay for it later. I'm going to say it again. People, whether doing root work, conjure work, necromancing. What's up there, self-care goddess? Good morning to you. If you don't sit down first and count up the cost about what you're trying to accomplish and making the necessary strides in your life as a Sagittarius, as a Capricorn, as a Gemini, then what happens? I'm going to give you an example. I teach common sense spirituality. So Mother Susan was down here at my house. Later she found out that her gardener had cleaned off the wrong side of the house. Instead of doing the right side, they did the left side. So let me explain. She's a church going woman. So she was deliriously upset. So she went back home Sunday. She found out a couple days while she was down here. But I want y'all to see that her own energy was already working her situation out. It's still, she called me this morning, it's still working out in her favor. Sometimes you get upset when things happen. And you don't take into account the energy that is around you. You don't take into account the prayers you already prayed. When I say no weapon formed against me shall prosper, that's common sense. I know that I have I'm giving necessary offering. What's up, I will say Monique 444, my Cancer in the house. Common sense allows you not to be stressed. Common sense is based on facts. We're in the age of Aquarius. The more facts that you have about what you're going after, the more you're confident you can achieve. The reason why people have to be validated so much, the reason why people have so much angst when it comes down to, am I going to get it? I'm going to get a house. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get it. Because if you had sat down and did the necessary work, your statement would be, why shouldn't I get it? I'm going to say it again. If you had did the work and you did the common sense around what you desire, your attitude would be more or less, why shouldn't I get healed? Why shouldn't I have the outcome? Why shouldn't this come to pass? I'm aligning myself. I made the necessary offerings. I gave the necessary energy, and therefore now I'm waiting on manifestation. And that, sir or ma'am, has nothing to do with your particular tradition. It has to do with your understanding of your energy. The hardest thing that I've been trying to get melanated people to do is to understand their energy. They want their needs to be more important than their energy. They want their wants to be more important than their energy. And the truth of the matter is, you can have your needs and wants met if you understood your energy. I don't have to have the latest fishing pole to catch a fish. The average person that has the latest fishing pole will look at the person with a stick and some line and a hook and feel that they deserve to catch a fish versus the person using a pole and some line. And that person with that normal device, I call that the David slingshot, can end up catching a fish for you do with all that equipment. This is why I tell people it's not the sword that makes the man or woman, it's the man that makes and the woman that makes a sword. You think because you got a bunch of crystals, if you don't know how to use stuff, you just got crystals. You just got cauldrons. You just got orishas. It's so many people that are in the ATR's crown, or have orishas that have getting no benefit because they absolutely do not understand what orishas are and how to activate or benefit, and they always have to go to somebody, a babala or some type of madrina or padrino, because they don't understand their energy. I understand the Oshun that my energy is connected to. I understand the Shango that my energy is, because I understand myself. And most people don't have time, and they don't make time to understand their energy. And that is your greatest defeat and disadvantage when you get into real spiritual warfare. Because people can attack you in areas that you yourself have not even awakened. Or thank you so much for the heart. Love you. Thank you. I know some very complicated rituals, spells. We had the opportunity. I had my Libra, Ryan, came down, and he had an opportunity to feel and encounter the energy that was in the church. And then I brought him to my house, and then he had opportunity to be around the cauldrons, because he has the Palo membership. The reason why I'm explaining this to you: yes, I can work for you long distance, but when you're in the atmosphere, when your cell phone is actually plugged in, you're gonna get a different kind of charge or an experience. When your cell phone is actually plugged in, you're gonna get a different kind of charge or an experience present with you and all your egos, your ancestors, whatever is following you. Those spirits, Kingmaker came down. Anybody that comes around me feels the tangible anointing. On lives and my videos, people hear me say I have Isaiah 10 and 27. But until they come around, and this is why no matter how much I teach, the people that are not getting it is always the people forever learning and never coming into the knowledge of the truth. You're not going to skip. You're going to develop like it was designed for you to develop. When you cheat yourself, I had a teacher say this: when you cheat on a test, you cheating yourself. The person that, if you got somebody else to do your work, that person is learning. You're not. I'm going to say this to melanated people: there's no such thing that exists as the easy way, the cheaper way. All of these ideas are working against you. The fact that you feel like you can do stuff when you want to means that you don't understand universal laws when it comes to seasons. That's just like somebody after the season of blueberries in search for blueberries. That's not common sense. If you want something to be taking place, it's like the scripture in the Bible when the angel stirred the water. It doesn't matter if you get there 2 months early. You still got to wait on that angel to stir that water. After the angel stirs that water, the first person that gets in that water is going to be healed of their infirmities. Because the man in the wheelchair only had one view of how he could be healed. When Yahshua stepped on the scene and was talking to him, he didn't even know that his healing was inside the body. Ebasa, inside the body of the I am. When you don't have common sense to magic, you don't understand that something can be harnessed in one location but be found in another. This is why people don't understand orishas. Even though there may be in your shrine, those orishas or those energies are also in nature. You should be able to recognize Oshun outside of your pot. You should be able to recognize Centea outside of your cauldron. You should be able to recognize your God outside of your temple or place of worship. That energy, frequency, and vibration is universal. This is why people fight, because they don't understand that every man gets a chance. If you understood that everybody that's here got a destiny, and let me tell y'all something. The reason why you can be tricked, because you're not connected to source. When people try to act like there's a scarcity of food in America, around the world, as long as there are seeds in the ground, there will always be abundance. I know that because I'm connected to Mother Earth. People can become like a beaver and build a dam that the water don't flow downstream. That's not, God has nothing to do with God's provision not being made. That is somebody trying to impede your prosperity. When somebody is greedy and they hoard things and they don't leave fruit on the tree for others, that has nothing to do with God's provision. That's a character flaw that people have. Do not misconstrue God's abundance versus selfish people, greedy people. These characters that make people do what they do with the energy. I freely give my knowledge because I freely receive it. Those things that I had to pay for, I had to go through trial tribulation for. That's why you got to go. You got to pay a cost. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is something that I try to give people, and they really don't understand those virtues, and therefore they proclaim their issue, their problem, as it is stronger than the energy that was being displayed. I have people walk in my church. I have people come around me, feel the energy, vibration, and refuse the knowledge. They will continue in the patterns that caused them to suffer in the first place. A person has to accept that light. Energy is nothing but information. And when you are around or you hear somebody that is illuminated, enlightened, and you reject the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, that is no different than a bee doing all of that work for the hive, but is not eating of the substance of the food for the hive. Many people melanated, I don't care how much truth they hear, they will be malnourished because they will not consume what is being served at the table. It is dumbfounding at times to see the lack of common sense, because energy can fix your money problem. Energy can fix your health problems. Energy can fix your relationship problem if you two are in agreement. A lot of the issues you think you will live and die with, the right amount of energy manifested will resolve the issues because it will bring you to the frequency of fruition. Fruition is just a fancy word of coming to pass. I've had, and I'm gonna share this with you because I feel like it'll help melanated people. I have healed people that had not even asked for prayer. They knew they was in a ministry of healing and deliverance. But because they had certain diagnoses from doctors' report, because they had those things from birth, they did not believe it was curable. But they were in a church where the pastor believes that God can heal all manners of sickness and disease. You can't even embrace, you will amen that same knowledge that you hear, that same wisdom, but you yourself would not open to receive. That's why I don't believe miracles, signs, and wonders make people into believers. I don't care how many manifestations I manifest, it doesn't make an individual soul accept that truth, accept that reality for themselves. I have more people say they serve a God that can do anything, constantly telling me what can't be done. I'm going to say that again. I have people that if I ask right now, do you believe God can fail? They'll tell me no. But turn around and tell me what cannot be done. Whether it is divine feminine, whether it is divine masculine, whether it is ancestors, whether it's angels, whether it's orishas, whether it's daimons, it doesn't matter. The very people that talk about an inexhaustible God, an omnipotent God, will tell you the limits that they have on God or Divine Mother, but would declare them to be all powerful. If we're going to be in the ATRs and we understand that we are the microcosm of the universe and that the universe is infinite, don't try to encourage me. Do not try to bring to me about what can't be done through spirituality. I don't want to hear it. I might have to work harder to get that manifestation. I might have to give more to get that manifestation. But you, certain man, whether I'm doing hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, Lacuma, you're not going to tell me an infinite God or goddess, energy, the building block of the universe, is not going to give me on earth a tangible manifestation when I have done what I needed to do to be in alignment. That's what I mean by common sense. Facts matter in this day and age. Your individuality matters. Some of you got bigger mouths than you got bigger pockets. Some of you got bigger eyes than you got bigger stomachs. Some of y'all here writing checks that you know it's not in the account, that your behind can't cash. All of these things to me are irrational. I'm not going to say something unless I'm able to do it. I'm not going to be in a place except I understand the benefit of that. That's common sense. If I continue to start and stop stuff, I can't expect a perpetual blessing, or perpetual means continual blessing. When you are trying to use common sense to magic, you have to ask yourself the honest questions. Is this something I'm willing to work to maintain? Is this something I'm gonna have and take care? Or is this something that I'm going to be out here praying about, conjuring about, making certain sacrifices, and then walk away from it because it's not coming in the time frame? When people, let me say this, because I've been doing this so long. So let me give it this analogy. People will come into life in magic and say, I want this to be done. I want better. But they have spent 15, 20 years creating the chaos in their life. And they want those 12 years, those 11 years, those 5 years of working against themselves to be changed in a twinkling of an eye. That's not rational. Does it take 11 years to get healed? No. But when you get healed and you ain't changed your behavior, you're going to end up in the same predicament, in the same vibration you just got delivered out of. To me, that's not sober thinking. When I'm ready to stop, like I tell people, I may not hold for 6 months. I may not do stuff for a couple of days. Don't mean it ain't in me. When you want something out of your life, you have to come at it at a common sense and say, I'm gonna spend the time, I'm gonna spend the money, I'm gonna make the adjustment. I'm not gonna get nobody no problem for what I want. I know, because I'm sober-minded and I got common sense, there's gonna be some pain in me gaining. There's gonna be me getting tired, but I got things that will re-energize me. Let me see something. When it comes to money, I think that most melanated people either ignore or don't know, but money is currency, and currency come with purpose. So if you don't have common sense, you will feel like you can ask God to bless you to pay your light bill and then turn around and buy groceries with that same money and really think that's not going to affect your manifestation. I'm going to say that again. With water element, when you're dealing with currency or dealing with money, that's why Yahshua sent Peter to go to the ocean, and he said a coin would be in the fish's mouth. When you know what currency is, no matter whether it's American money, Jamaican money, or any China money, it's still currency. And like tides of water, it goes up and goes down. If you understand, you will always, if you have common sense when it comes to energy, if you take somebody's currency, somebody's gonna take your currency. However because water has memory. That's why when it comes to return of spells and stuff like that, a lot of people ain't even common sense with that. You want somebody lied on you, but you want them to die. There's no balance. That's to me, that's not rational. It's not common sense. So when it comes to money, the fact that you don't have respect for currency, that's why you manifest what you manifest. When it comes to relationship, one of the biggest mistakes that I feel like melanated people make without lacking common sense. Man is the only thing. When I say mankind, I'm talking about mankind, humanity. You have jurisdiction to rule over everything else. The beasts of the fields, fowls of the air. The most black people, melanated people, spend a lot of energy and money trying to control somebody. And I say it all the time. And people still do it. If it ain't your children you trying to control, it's your husband, it's your wife, it's even you trying to control the side piece. Even you trying to control community. Because I'm a TikTok, so you know how TikTok do. And why do I say it's a waste of energy? Because you could be with somebody or or an environment that you can flow. I asked my sister, would it be better to be in a relationship with a man that you don't even have to have those discussions with? When you're arguing with a grown man or woman about something they know they're supposed to do, they should do, imagine being in a relationship that it's not even a discussion. It just, I'm going to do my part. How much more and how much further in life or in manifestation or an accomplishment that y'all can have? The energy you take out to deceive this man or deceive this woman, because all that it's still energy. When you could be with somebody, you could say, hey, this is who I am, this is how I rock and roll, and they accept you exactly for who you are. Deceiving people is a waste of energy to me. I know people do it. I know why some people do it. Some things I agree with, some things I don't. But me personally, because I understand energy, I believe it's a waste of time. Why pretend to be something I'm not when I can have I can have the acceptance of people that will accept me for who I am? This is why, as a spiritualist, even on social media, I have the advantage over a lot of people because they come out here and portray an energy that they are not. Because they feel that being nice and coming across sweet is gonna draw certain people. When, yes, my realness drives some people away, but it also draws people that respect and admire my realness. And so why wouldn't I build with those people that accept my realness than me putting on airs or pretending to be something of my nature? I remember I was talking to my sister about my niece, and my niece like tight clothes. So I said, as her uncle and as my sister's brother, I said, well, I can't really judge that because I like tight clothes. I said, I do understand why you have certain reservations about it, but for somebody that like it tight, I can come from a parental thing, but when something natural to a person. So I end up having a conversation with my son, my middle son. I'm just trying to give y'all something to pinpoint it. So my middle son was coming over to my house, and every time he would have white beat on, but they were always too little. And I used to think it was his mother, so I used to be going off. I'm like, the money that I spend, and why you keep coming up here? And she know that this don't even fit on you. So one day he decided to tell me the truth. He said, "Dad, it's not my mom." When I say come out the closet, that's what I'm talking about. He said, "Dad, I like it tight like this." And I just looked at him. And what was going on in my mind is I wear tight clothes or form-fitting clothes. And I didn't like that on my son. But naturally, even though he was too big for that white beater, that particular, and he told me I like it medium, not small, medium. And so what I'm saying is energy is what it is. Even though if it's not represented the way you would utilize it, but it came from me. And I was telling my sister, she get that honest. If you look at the family, she gets it honest. I get it that it's your daughter and what standards you want her to have. But the idea like she went across the street and got that, she ain't got that. All I'm trying to show y'all, common sense. The things that we are frustrated about, if we had common sense to energy, you wouldn't be frustrated. The things you stressing over, you wouldn't be stressing over. I should have put on my glasses, because on common sense. And this is why I teach and try to get people, because I don't tell grown people what to do, but I try to get people to be honest about what they want out of life. Because you can start wasting time, energy, and frequency and advice that you ain't gonna take. Because if you be honest what you want out of life, then you can truly attract. You can stop the lunacy that a lot of people in, a lot of the delusion, and you don't call it delusion. But when you are not operating in common sense, this is why I tell people all over this globe, I couldn't judge you if I wanted to. Not only what I did, my background. To me, that's common sense. Because I won't be found in situation as the pot talking about the kettle. When you don't consider yourself and you don't consider your family tree, which is a part of your energy, then you can't properly conduct yourself. Because sometimes you think you're talking about other people and you're really talking about yourself. Me and Sister Triana was talking yesterday, and what I'm gonna say to my melanated people, know why you headbutt with certain people. 9 times out of 10, if it ain't 10 times out of 10, y'all just alike. Y'all have the same energy. Me and my mama clash because we too much alike. Me and certain family members clash because we too much alike. It says opposites attract. You put a magnet, two magnets on the same pole, whether it's north or the south, it's gonna what? Repel. Your frustration and your hurt will be minimized because you will start realizing some of the people you can't stand is just like you. The average daughter-in-law is disliked by the mother because she see herself in that other female, and she know what she did to her son's daddy, and she don't want that for her son. What you would do to another woman's son, you typically don't want for your son. And your son is going to be attracted to your energy, which the women that he go out and get, if he into men, they gonna all of them. That's why I love the concept energy don't lie. All my 3 baby mamas have a certain attribute of my mother. And they all different type of then they don't have the same background. They come from different educate, all that. But energetically, that's my mother. And when I found out, I realized why we ain't work. You trying to make it about a name, or when I say a name, because that person name is Monique, or that person's name is Sam, or cause no, it's energy. If you're clashing with somebody and you're repelling, I'm talking about legitimately, it's because you got the same energy. My mama's a Virgo, my sister Gemini, and I'm a Sagittarius. We got different elements, but we have the same roles. We play the same roles in society, energetically, because we have adaptability. So we're always meeting and we're serving, but through a different element. My sister told my mom, I don't know why you so upset. He doing the very same thing you're doing. You doing it with the family, he doing it with people. But y'all doing the same thing. Y'all talk the same thing. Y'all actually complaining about each other about the same thing. You're more like melanated people than you would like to think. If you melanated, it don't matter how much melanin you got. If you melanated, we all have something in common. We coming from the same source. So whether you in voodoo, Christianity, whether you in Ifa, whether you an atheist, energy is energy. Frequency is frequency. I keep it common sense. I teach even the simple, because if somebody, sir and ma'am, knows what they're doing and what they're talking about, they can break the most complicated formula down for a baby to understand. The more confusion somebody try to keep people in, and let me tell you something, somebody that wants you to win, because even in our Bible it say God is not the author of confusion. When somebody keep up a bunch of confusion, they don't know the hell they're doing. Why would I want my greatness to be attached to confusion? Why would I want my knowledge to be attached to confusion? I'm not going to do it. That's why I say common sense to energy, to magic. And we'll see more people having more confidence in conjure and spell work, and they would know how to approach that energy. I told my son, because none of my kids like to be told what to do because they get it from me. But I was having a conversation with my middle boy. He's a Pisces. And I don't never try to change nobody. I told him, I said, it ain't nothing wrong with not being told what to do. If you're going to take that mindset, because I got it. I said, but let me tell you this, the wisdom, this is how you navigate in life. Nobody should have to tell you what to do. You should be the first one doing your responsibility. If you're going to have the mindset you don't want to be bothered, then don't be over there bothering other people's stuff. To me, that's common sense. That's somebody that really don't want you bothering their business because they ain't over there bothering your business. But if you over there bothering other people's business, most certainly you don't believe in the principle, not by, you don't want, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's some women that you looking at right now and you trying to figure out, men, you trying to figure out why they ain't arguing because they man cheating. Or they woman cheating. Because they cheating. You trying to figure out why she ain't upset or he ain't upset because they being lied to. Because they lie to them. What's good for the goose, good for the gander. I ain't saying it's healthy, but it is rational. Life could be a lot better for a lot of people, even if you didn't practice conjure. Even if you didn't practice voodoo, Santeria, none of that. If you kept it that simple and you were that concrete in who you were, everybody, it's, and when I first heard this, I ain't really believing this. They said it's somebody for everybody. Everybody, I take that back. Some people say I'm very difficult to be around, to deal with. I'm not difficult because I vocalize what I want. If you know you can afford a Mercedes, that's why you ain't on a car lot. And if you go to the car lot, that's why you a fool. Cause you already know you ain't got the credit or you don't have the cash. It's nothing wrong with admiring a man or woman, just like a house or anything else. But understanding that you ain't in a place to accommodate them. I might be a hoe, but I'm a hoe with standards. I'm a hoe that likes certain things done a certain type of way. And I pay the cost to be the boss. So I'm not difficult. You just can't afford me. Even as a spiritual, you can go, it's other spirituals out here doing conjure. But I'm a spiritual of certain standards. I want the best. I want the best herbs. I want the best crystals. I want whatever my money can afford to buy, I'm going to get top notch. That's just me. And so therefore, when it comes to my donations, that's why they are what they are. I want you to understand, you don't have to be an apostle either. You don't have to be a chief apostle either. You don't have to be, all you got to be is yourself. If you can't get that right, you ain't going to get nothing right. As a spiritual, been doing this over almost, based off about 48 years, 49 years. If melanated people want to know what their stumbling block is, you don't know enough about yourself. That's why anybody work with me, I always do their blueprint. If you ain't trying to be you, who are you trying to be? That's why I have contentment. What I try to get my members and people that follow me is you have to put the work in to have contentment. And when you're trying to do what other people are doing, or because other people are doing, or trying to spite other people, you're not operating in your energy. Being petty is a part of my energy. It's also a part of my bloodline, but me in particular as an individual, The way that a Sagittarius is petty is different. The way a Capricorn is petty. The difference how a Cancer is petty. Everybody got their pettiness. That's right. She said petty Pee-wee. Just like I go out my way to help you, I'll go out my way to hurt you. I'm that petty. I will drive all the way to Miami to get you a certain type of flower, a particular rose, cause I'm very sentimental like that. I'm very thoughtful like that. But I'm also the same person that will go to Miami and find me the right root or the right cemetery to put what's happening on your ass. I'm true to my energy, and therefore, when somebody get mad with me, are you getting mad with me because I'm being mean, or you getting mad with me because you thought I wouldn't do it to you? And who told you I wouldn't do it to you? I don't told everybody. If you ain't my mom, my daddy, who you? Anybody can get that work, the smoke. For you to feel you more special, that ain't on me. The lifeguard told you specifically that don't swim. It's shark infested water. You go behind their back and go out that water, you put your own life at risk. That's what this about. Okay, guys, cause I got another live I gotta do a little later. I gotta go get something to eat. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you came in the middle, I want to thank you for coming into my live. I also want you guys to know I got a conjure class for $175 coming up. I don't TikTok don't penalize me, but I'm the shit. People say I'm cocky. I'm confident. Don't ever ascribe me to arrogance, because I only teach and preach what I know, what I got a resume for. But I got standards, and sometimes people get choked. I'll try to why it work. Okay, baby. But if you want to actually learn what real magic is, I have a conjure class coming up. You go to my website and purchase that conjure class. All right. Peace out, everybody.